Greetings, productive programmer. So this is our application. It is finished. It is functional. There are a lot of things you can do to kind of clean this up and expand this application. There are a couple of questions that came up from some of the students that have taken this course and this particular project walkthrough. The names, the package that we use, you obviously could use a different package to generate your names. There's probably a ton in there in the Hex package manager, as we saw, that you can utilize if you wanted to. What you'll see in some of the demonstrations of my application is what I've done is I've just made a small tweak afterwards to make it a little bit more appealing. So what we can do is we can take this username here and we can use Elixir to do string, and we can split it. So we can split this string whenever we find one of those dash characters. And then to resave this username with Elixir, you can grab the head. So this will split it into a list basically. And since we only have 2 items, it'll be a list of 2 items. And with Elixir, instead of grabbing it by index, what you can do is you can just grab the first item as the head like this, and then everything else afterwards that is the tail of the list would come after this pipe type character. And this underscore is just because we're not using any of the other stuff. If we wanted the rest of the data, we could give it some variable name here, but we're not going to use that information. So we're just going to go ahead and just grab the username. So that'll just basically split this and grab the first item that is in the list after it's split by that dash. And so now we get usernames where there is no dash. And so if I refresh the page, all these usernames are more like you'd expect them to. A little less unique because it's more possible now that 2 users could end up with the name green if they were both randomly generated as that. So obviously, demonstration application, you could hopefully expand this to be more sophisticated if you wanted to go to production with this. But hopefully that will help point you in the right direction if you're wondering why some of my demonstrations will also show just a single username, just to clean it up, make it look nicer and more presentable and more marketable. So again, not too important for the purposes of the course, but just wanted to show you that in case you were wondering, like some of the other students, which is why my username didn't have the dash in some of my examples outside of the course. And this is how I did it basically, as just I filtered that up afterwards to say, this is going to look more presentable if there was not a dash here. So that's all I did. And you can do that too with that quick one-liner here. And then just to expand this discussion a little bit, if there's other ways you can manipulate data in Elixir. So this is the first thing that came to mind for me, but you could also, if you wanted to, instead of doing it this way, which I guess is a little bit trickier, because if you're new to Elixir, you're probably expecting to be able to just grab by index, which you can't really do here. So if you try to do this, then you'll see your application breaks. So Elixir treats a list like a linked list, so you can't just grab it by index like this per se. I'll show you how you're probably used to seeing it. This is not really the Elixir way to do it, but you can do list dot, and you can grab first, and you can basically stick the result of this function inside of here to grab the first item in the list. So you could do it this way using the list. But instead of doing it this way, the Elixir way to do this is that anytime you have a value here that you want to basically pass, you want to pass the output of what I have highlighted here, the string split, into the next function. The Elixir way to do this is to actually pipe it into here using this syntax where you have the horizontal bar and the forward arrow to point to the next thing that you're going to do. And then we can just pass this. We can pass list dot first. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to take the result of this and then basically stick it in here like this for us. And that's just a shorthand. So I really like this piping that Elixir has. It's really cool. And there's probably several other ways that you could rewrite this, but these are just a couple examples to show you how you can go ahead and split this data. And I know some of you that are taking the course, you probably know how to do this already, but I wanted to just break it down a little bit for those who are new to Elixir. And one of my goals with this course is to try not to, at least in the introductory phases, make things too Elixir heavy, but just kind of have you experience Elixir as a side effect of using Phoenix. And so this would be a viable solution as well.